Today's video is going to be an interesting one because it's based on some recent conversations I had with a couple of my friends. And given the age and the time that I'm in right now, given the amount of journey I covered, I'm at a point where me and several of my friends, we have gotten to a point where our parents have aged and to a point where some have left, some are going through health issues, and some of my friends, they have their parents in their native countries, and obviously they have my friends have immigrated here, but their parents are still in their own country. And you know met a few friends over the last few days, and today, also this morning, I met a very old dear friend of mine, Samir, who was visiting Bay Area, and all of our old friends, we all got together this morning. And this video is in a way inspired by him also. So I'm going to record this video. I'm going to send this link to Samir. So Samir, if you're watching this is for you. Okay, you inspired this video. Okay, and prior to this, also a friend of mine, also I met her at a coffee place recently, talking about her father and how she is dealing with her father being in India and she here, and health challenges of, of her father, and then equally mother, and how everybody is busy dealing with their own life situations, all the siblings, and they're unable to figure out what are personal ambitions, how much they should play versus how much should be the responsibility towards the parents. So I thought I should record a video. If that's who you are in the situation yourself, and let's say you are the eldest kid in the house, there is a lot of responsibility on you. And it doesn't matter, this applies to younger kid also, but what I'm saying is you are the eldest kid, and these people are the eldest as far as at least people who I met, who have told me at my seminars and workshops also. See, back in the day, it was people coming and asking me, I have this, I have my children, and how do I raise them? And my answer then was, all kind of answers. And then eventually me settling down, later part, over the years, me settling down and me saying, don't worry, your children will grow up and they'll be fine. And then later part of my life, the current part of my life, where people are asking me things like, how do you deal with parent situation in India and all? And in fact, if you, on my podcast over the years and on my radio show, many people called and asked this question: how do you um, and my answer is, I really do not know how to raise parents in India while you live in a country that is far away. You are in, like I'm in California in the US, and some of my friends are in UK. I mean, you're far away from your parents. How do you raise them remotely? I don't know the answer, because I have not gone through that myself. Last 15 years, my parents both are, they came, they were with me, and my mother passed away. My dad is still around, 91 years old. So I don't know how to deal with that part. But I can tell you, conceptually, what are the things, why these things happen, and and kind of give you some ideas on this, and hopefully by the end of this video, this may help you to kind of, for you to come up with your own thought on how to approach this. Um, some of my friends, they said, my parents are growing old, so we should go back. We lived, and my children are also young. I want to take them, show them India, um, allow them to grow up there, and also spend time with my parents and all that. I think Samir also kind of implied that today. He didn't specifically say that, but he kind of mentioned that. Had to, kind of take care of that part of his life, and which he did very successfully. So very few people tell me that they did these things successfully, because they go there, they're there, and they're now divided between two different places: place of responsibility, place of ambition, and they have to take care of their children, and they don't know what's the right path for them, for the children is and should be. They're not they're confused. Are they forging the right thing for both sides? And how do you create this equilibrium or a balance? It's all over the place. Okay. Um, People have asked this question to me saying, what's the most difficult thing you have done? I said things like, hey, the most difficult thing I did was coming to America, or the most difficult thing was taking care of my, mother's cancer, or my father's, dementia and stroke, or things like, me attempting to climb Mount Everest. All these things define me. But if I have to rewind all this and tell you the most important thing that I have ever done was to just tell my parents that I want to step out of the house. Okay. Um, the day that I left the house was the biggest achievement I ever had in my life. And it was hard because I'm the eldest son, and my parents, and this is, for a South Asian, you can relate to this. Parents, are culturally, parents look at their children. I think this applies everywhere. Parents look at their children as their own life extension. Parents believe that they are going to be present perpetually through their children. So children represent the future presence of the parents. So, of course, there is a cultural expectation to uphold the family values, the name, the rituals, all that on the eldest kid, and of course, all the kids. That's what. So, the parents, they are projecting their legacy and their own security onto their children. So, you might have heard this saying, children are the 401ks. It goes around all over the place, that saying. So, there is a control mechanism in this. And that fear of losing control leads to parents becoming authoritative, you know uh, and then guilt tripping their children, and then persuading the children's thought process and decision making, even though children have grown up, but then they still are following the commands in their unconscious mind that were given to them very early on when they were children. So a child never grows up, technically speaking. And what happens to the child is, the decision dilemma kicks in. Should I deal with my parents' loyalty towards me, or my loyalty towards them, or should I go and pursue my own ambition? Now, many parents at some point in the part of their fear of losing, and their fear of losing their ability to control their own presence in their child's life, somehow along the way the programming becomes where you know you are not choosing independence, but while you are choosing independence, you are also choosing abandonment. You are abandoning us, and you're choosing independence. um, some people have told me, and this is what I learned, is you know the abandonment mindset, there is guilt induced, and professionally, even though the child comes and succeeds, but to bridge the gap of guilt, the child keeps on sending money and gifts and all these things, and trying to uplift the life. But despite of doing that, the situation doesn't improve. People do benefit, people around the parents benefit, people in the community may benefit from money being sent, but then it necessarily doesn't fix the guilt. um, Parents somehow, even though they may say they are not doing this, but at some point the script is so powerful, it has been done so early and so deeply, and it has been embedded into the unconscious mind, that kids tend to live that. So this friend of mine, she was saying this. She said, "I said, I'm torn between parts." And she said, "You're so lucky that you have your parents with you." And my point to her was, listen, everything comes at a cost. It doesn't matter. There is a cost. Sometimes the cost is obvious, sometimes invisible, but there is a cost. Every decision you make, every choice you make, there is a cost. And as long as you are agreeing and acknowledging that there is a cost that you are paying, and there is something that you have to let go to have something, then absolutely, then it doesn't bother you that much. So parents' behavior is psychologically rooted, and it's rooted in the, first of all, it's fear. Parents, like all of us, I'm a parent, so my parents and your parents, you and your children will become parents, and they all, all of us, we have to survive. So parents' fear is coming from their own survival instincts, and it is not a conscious behavior. It's completely unconscious. That's how the nature has told all of us to behave. So for us to survive, we will do anything, we'll say anything, and we will tell that we didn't say anything because it's unconscious. It just happened. It shows up. It's the vibe. It's just the expressions. It's just the aura. It doesn't have a language to it. Cannot be proven anywhere. So it's fear. It's rooted in fear. That's one of the psychological traits. If you let your child go, then this is the second part of the psychological trait. If you let your child go, then you are letting your own existence go away. So that's the hard part. And I've seen that specifically growing up. My father, like every time he used to ask me, hey, when are you coming back? Like, when are you back? Like, even though I was going out of the town, whatever, right? I have to go to do some work. When are you coming back? And I do the same thing with my daughter now. She goes to college, like, when are you coming back? She's like, Daddy, I was here like a week and I'm going now. I'll come back when I come back. No, why don't you come back on Friday? Why don't you come back on Saturday? That's our own existence. It's a parent's existence. It's nothing to do with the child. Then they hang on. Okay. They hang on to the fear. That's the third part. That's actually a deeper part of the psychological trait. We all hang on to the fear. But then we exhibit the fear in the form of love. And our children, they get confused. They don't know how to react to that. They see the love, and by the time they really grow up, and like it took me all this mental existence for me to come to this level of realization. But hardly 10, 12 years ago, if you ask me, then I probably would have said a different thing altogether. So yes, it is what it is. This is nature. This is how it is going to play out. So my later realizations along the way, which was, it's okay, they will grow up, they will live, they will, like children will grow up, they will live their life. Likewise, parents will also, all these problems, as the way they're presenting as problems, they will resolve themselves in a way. Now, as far as you are concerned, you need to have to do both. Like, you have to take that part of the responsibility and also take care of your side of the responsibility. Yes, you cannot balance it out completely. Depending upon who is judging you, they will always see you as a hero on one side, and they're going to also see you as a villain on the same side, depending upon who is looking at you. So if you're a hero in somebody's script, then you're always a villain, or you're always a villain somewhere else. Okay. As long as the different philosophies on this, people say, hey, listen, you got to leave and cleave. So your parents raised you, now you have to leave the parents and you have to cleave on to the next generation. Different views, different thoughts. Again, all these things are rooted in our culture. All these things are I was raised in a culture where I was expected to be a karta, like in my in my culture and my upbringing. It's all so subjective, so unique, so singular, that very difficult to generalize these conversations. But you get the idea. I hope I started a thought in you if you're watching this video. If I did, do me a favor, drop me a comment so I can communicate with you. If you like, I show up here, we talk self-improvement, self-development. Occasionally I respond to some questions. Most of these conversations are unfiltered. I show up here without any big cameras, without even light, in my car, in my zone of performance. And the idea is to have an incredible and honest conversation with you. And, I was meeting my friend Samit today, and bunch of other friends also all together. We 15, 16 years ago. We all worked together, and he left to India to raise his children and raise his parents. And he didn't say this, but every child wants to send his or her parents um, to to heaven, to God, whatever the belief system is, better than the parents found the child in the first place. Some of my friends have done incredible with that. Some of my friends are struggling with that. They don't know. People, when I look at them, I tell them, you have done an amazing job, and they say, I don't think so, I did anything. And I meet people, and I see how much they're struggling to uphold both sides of the values, and they're totally falling apart. And tell them, you're doing an amazing job, and then they don't even know where they stand with all this. Some people cannot even resolve this long after the children are gone, and they've found their paths, and the parents are also already left this world. uh, they can't even resolve it within themselves. It's a very complex life. I hope life was linear, but it is not, and it's not a straight line. So I'm going to stop here. If you like this video, as I said, you can like this video, and if you make a comment, I'll respond to you. If you subscribe to this channel, then I'm in front of you every day. And that's all for now. Wherever you are, you be safe, and do your best on both sides. Okay, that's the message here, as much as you can. Okay, you take care. Bye now.